Hello everybody and welcome to the third round of the Player One SimGear Super Formula Lights Championship, this time from Interlagos. After last week's race, a safety car filled race at the Hockenheim, we've come to South America for the only time this season to break up our European first half of the season as we return to Italy next week. It's myself, Ewan, and James Parfitt with you for this round of the championship at one of both our favourite circuits, actually, Interlagos. And typically as well, James, it is raining. It's not uncommon around this circuit to see rain falling. And based on the forecast we've seen here before the session, it is likely that the drivers are going to need wet tyres all day long here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be epic. And I do think this is going to be amazing due to the fact that obviously it's Interlagos anyway, which is always a great circuit to go at. Most people should put it at the end. I feel Interlagos as a championship decider should be the way to go, but they haven't. They've stuck it on round 3. It's going to be great. Rain all day as well. What more could we ask for?
Yeah, to be fair, we had a good championship finale at Zandvoort last season, I suppose.
I know, but still, Interlagos at the end.
It's the traditional ending to a season, but we're going early. It's actually where it used to be in the Formula 1 calendar. I think it used to be round 3 back in the 2000s, so there you go. Let's have a look at the championship starting, speaking of, after the first 2 rounds, because it is going to start to mean more week on week, and nobody really has had 2 good rounds so far, which is the interesting part. I can't see them on my screen, so I don't know which ones you've gone with, James, whether they've gone with the ones with a drop week or total points, but which ones have you gone?
It was Mr. Donahue posted them to me with drop week. So 102 points for Phil Vella.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So, Phil Vella's on 102. That's because he's won a race and got some bonus points along the way for pole position. And so that's why he's just got his nose in front of Curtis Webb. Otherwise, there's no difference between them, really. Marcus Watson's best result is 2nd place, as is Jack Mara's. That's where they tied for 3rd. Best result of 3rd for Dantes and Masroli, but Dantes got that pole position last week, and so that's why he's in 5th. Jordan McDonnell and Scott Bartine have had a 4th place finish this season each. 60 points to David Gallo, and Craig Edwards is in the top 10 as well. He's been in the top 5 so far. Then it is Angus Mill, Mark Hilly, Dave Davison, Will Ryan, and then there's a lot of ties further down outside of the top 15. As I mentioned, because it's 2 weeks basically, and there's only 1 drop week, it effectively means that score is basically just your best finishing position from the first 2 races, which means there's a lot of ties. It's going to start to make more sense as we go along. In terms of total points, which is probably a better indication actually of who's up towards the front in this championship, Marcus Watson scored the most points at 142. Scott Bartine has scored 3 less than that after 2 top 5 finishes. They're the only 2 to have 2 top 5 finishes so far. 123 points for Curtis Webb. Phil Vella's got 112, Masroli 120, and the only other driver with more than 100 is David Gallo with 105. So that's maybe a better indication of who's going to be up towards the front in the coming weeks. But for now, it's Vella and Webb who are pretty much tied at the top because they've both won a race, and as normal in this series, we've had 2 different race winners in the first 2 weeks.
Which is always good for us. It means it's not going to be a boring season. It means we're going to have different winners. Everybody's going to do rather well. And I'm looking forward to this. I think these Super Formula cars have been great. And, you know, they brought some great racing. And I expect that to continue here today as well. Going to be interesting to see how they handle the rain, though. That's going to be the thing. And it is torrential. It is, well, they say it's moderately wet. I personally think it's very wet, but there we go. And it's still going on now, and it's still not going to stop either. So as far as I'm aware, it's going to be rain for the whole entire race.
Yeah, I think the reason it's moderately wet in our graphics at the moment, by the way, is because the percentage rain is actually dipping as we speak here. So it's getting lighter throughout qualifying. It will ramp up again. There's a bit of a break between qualifying and the race in the sim. Not here, we'll be jumping straight through to it. But in the sim, there's about an hour off, 45 minutes off. And during that period, the chance of rain and the strength of the rain increases by about 20%, which is almost double what it is at the moment. So it's not quite, but it almost is. And so that will continue on the way towards the sort of 15-minute mark in the race, where rain will be at its heaviest. It will start to dip again in the final 15 minutes, but I don't think it's even going to stop raining. It's certainly not going to dry up in time for any tyre changes to be required. So rain falling on the circuit for the first time this season. And we'll see if it's the last time this season when we get to the end. What it is going to do is extend the margin in qualifying. You can see first to last at the moment is 5 seconds. And that is not a criticism we should be levelling at these drivers. It is a display, really, of how difficult these conditions are. And when things are difficult, the time gaps between the drivers get larger. That's what you're seeing at the moment. Very rare that you get only 7 drivers within a second of pole.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It really does depend on how much rain driving people have done, right? I've not done any. You put me on a racetrack with rain and I'm likely to be spinning around like a ballerina. Let's just put it that way. But some of these obviously would have done more than others. So it's going to be a fine balance. As you say, this is probably going to be one of the race circuits where we do have that biggest gap between pole and last place, because it's never normally like this. As we know, it's like a second between, at some points, the top 20. So this could be a really sort of leveling equaliser. It'd be interesting to see how they manage the pit stop cycle here. What are they going to do? Are they going to go in early? Are they not going to go in early? It's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse, to be honest with you.
It'll be interesting as somewhere. Is that Mark Hilly maybe through the final corner off the road? I think it is. Just getting a bit wide. Vella's done a purple middle sector here, third out the 5. And he might well jump up here. Yep, 7th place for the championship leader. Though very early, as we mentioned. Didn't have a very good week last week, actually. Finished 26th in the end. That's why he's only got 112 points. He only scored 10 last week, which is very, very low for a championship contender. So he's going to need to hope that he doesn't have another round like that. Otherwise, he could be struggling. There's Stevens over the line. One of the silver drivers, and he goes up towards the front. Didn't mention, actually, who's on the top of the silver standings right now. It's Will Ryan, by the way. Finished 7th overall last week and scored all of his points effectively because that's his biggest score. So we've only had 2 rounds, so 55 to him, and that's why he's just ahead of Darren Fahey. Although, as I mentioned earlier on, it does look a bit different once you apply or take away the drop where you can look at total points, as always. Jason Madden's got some personal best sectors going on at the moment in that silver car. Going up towards the line, looks a little bit slow to me, although maybe that's just the Super Formula Light, to be honest, on the way towards the line. 2.3 seconds off pole at the moment. He's going to get a bit closer, is he? Yeah, he does, but doesn't actually improve any positions, bizarrely. Up to 21st. And 6.5 minutes to go. Craig Edwards, Curtis Webb is behind him. Craig Edwards is leading this session, and by a bit of a distance as well, 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, he is at the moment, and Stevens in leading silver is 1.1 back from the leader, and Robillard in behind that, Ryder in behind that, Gowan's in there, and Madden, of course. So that's going to be an interesting battle as well. I don't know when it comes to rain how much practice some of these would do. I don't know if do you go out purposely and make a session with rain just so you can practice it? Who knows how they go about it?
Yeah, when I was a driver, I used to do it a little bit, but you never do it as much as you should do, to be honest, in terms of wet weather practice. The difference with this is that the weather forecast was announced. I'm not sure whether the drivers were known even before this, but the weather forecast was announced in the Discord 3 hours and 3 days ago. So they've had plenty of it. That's at least 2 evenings before this evening to have practiced. I think on this occasion the drivers will have actually practiced, because when you see chance of rain at 92%, I don't think you take your chances and hope that it's going to be dry.
No, I don't think so. But David Gallo seems to be struggling down in 25th at the moment for the Carlins Motorsports. He's dropped down the order. Danny Davidson just coming up to the line. He's got an improvement in sector 4. Can he improve in the final sector to pull himself forward onto pole position? We're going to find out very, very shortly. No, unfortunately, he does not. And the time's starting to drop off a little bit. We
will see who gets pole in the final few moments here, because it's Not quite over for the moment. We are, though, not seeing very many improvements at all here. We have seen a session of people basically just exiting the pit lane at the start of the session and just going around without stopping here. I wonder whether a tyre change might have been a better idea, but it's probably too late now with 4 minutes to go. You only get a lap or so, and that's not enough time to get up to speed. But on the bottom of your screen, you can see it there, not a single, even green sector, never mind purple sector. So it does look like that might well even be the end of the session in terms of improvements here. Hopefully not, but it's hard to see how these tyres are going to provide them with anything now. Jack Mara has just gone over the line to 23rd. He's left us a bit too late, it looks like, and Jack Mara has been caught out a little bit by the conditions, starting a long, long way down the field.
Yeah, I did wonder whether some of them thought there was going to be a difference. Box has just said, assuming you've seen the session ahead of time, the weather should have been visible, assuming they don't change anything beforehand. Yeah, that's generally what we do, and at the end of the day, they should have, the guys should have known that it was going to rain as well. No improvements for David Gallo. In fact, he's gone back one. We're in 26th now for Mr. Gallo, and Giuliano Senesi is coming over the line. He's got an improvement in sector 4 as well, so we'll see if he can make an improvement on his time. Sitting in 20th at the moment, needs 2 temps, doesn't get it. 1:44.694.
A bit of a chrome livery going on there. Reflecting around. But yeah, no sun to blind us with today. It is very, very wet out there, and there are no improvements to be had at all here. In terms of this session. That's Stevens, who's taken pole in the silver class, but very nearly crashed there as he made his way out of the Interlagos there, which is turn 4 and 5. So that looks like it's pretty much going to be it. Who out of the top contenders then has qualified well? Vela at the top of the standings is in 8th place. Curtis Webb is on the front row. He won last week, and he's qualified second for the second week in a row by the looks of things. Marcus Watson is nowhere to be seen right now towards the front. So that's, I suspect he's not here, actually. I don't think I've seen him here at all yet. Maybe he's away at the moment. I'm not sure. Jack Mara way down the field as well. Flavio Dantas is in 6th place, so decent qualified for him. I think, long story short, of the real contenders up towards the top, Curtis Webb's done by far the best, but getting on the front row. Craig Edwards is not really up there in the championship, to be honest, after the first 2 rounds. He has been here, but at least as far as I'm aware, but he's not been up towards the front, especially 10th place for him in the standings, although he did get a top 5 last week. So Curtis Webb, I think, will be probably the happiest with that session.
Yeah, I think so as well. Box just made me chuckle. We said running a league like this one would expect people to have done significant practice in the wet. But if you're bad like me, you can still be slow and spin all the time. My wet driving has improved, so there we go. But yeah, unfortunately, I suck in the rain. Or going into a session if I opened it up and it was rain.
This time I even owned iRacing, rain wasn't a thing. So,
no, that's the thing. But you're coming back soon, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Literally this afternoon. I'm going to re-download that thing. So yeah, there we go. I've got some new equipment that will probably be, well, I need to even check if it runs iRacing, to be honest. It runs this a lot better. It runs broadcast a lot better, so that's a good sign.
That's a plus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Beforehand, sometimes I'd be squinting through a very, very grainy screen and think, what does that say there? Anyway, yes, I'll get back into it, hopefully, and maybe do a bit of wet weather driving, although I might stay away from it for the first few days because, it is very difficult. I mean, one of the last times I did a rain broadcast, I saw Max Verstappen spin off, so I can't imagine it's very easy.
No, it definitely isn't, to be blatantly honest as well. Car 59, no further action. So obviously Car 59 was involved in something. And that's a no further action there either. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on with that one. But no, rain is not easy, to be honest with you. And I'm going to presume you are not rig-based, Mr. O'Leary. We're talking about a steering wheel strapped to a desk.
Yeah, well, it does actually have a very small stand because I can't strap it to my desk itself. But yes, it is. It's not a rig situation.
Okay.
Certainly in mine. Qualifying impeding for car 78 has got a pit lane start. That is David Gallo, who was 26th anyway, so he's kind of in that region of the field where he might have actually decided to start from pit lane anyway. His start decision's been made for him now. He will have to start from pit lane. The other drive, by the way, you read out there was Mark Hilly in 59. I wonder whether that was an investigation into qualifying impeding, but they decided that he didn't do anything wrong, and so he will be allowed to start from 16th place. But Gallo won't be allowed to start from 26th. He will start from the back. Same goes for car 6 as well. That is quite a long way down the field for Jack Mara, who's 23rd. We've actually got 3 non-qualifiers here. Tristan McLaren gave it 5 laps and couldn't get a lap in. Todd Parks left the pit lane, but he didn't get a lap in. Jackson Dahl did not even try. Hopefully he starts, and in which case we get 33 drivers on the grid. We've had some fantastic attendances towards the start of this season.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of come from all the work from behind the scene. There's been more drivers that have joined as well. We've got the likes of 2 people that are out on track at the moment as well. Madeline McGee is out on the circuit, and Giuliano Senesi is out on the circuit. So that's good that more and more people are coming in. And I think this could be a growing thing. You know, obviously it's an Australian-based series, and you know most people would wonder why you've got 2 Englishmen broadcasting it. But at the end of the day, it's great to see that it is growing as much as it has done.
And while it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere, by the way, it's much more reasonable time in the day here in the morning. So especially in Europe, it's coming up towards midday in Europe. Although, as you say, it is an Australian league. You do tend to see a few more people popping in this morning and watching compared to when it was at at 9:30 start Central Europe and 8:30 in the UK. A few more people watching along as well, which is good to see. Final drivers have pulled into pit lane, and that is going to be it for the session. Madeline McGee was still out there practicing, basically, more than anything, but now ready for the race. It's going to be a very, very wet race indeed. Let's see what we're going to have. You can see it brightening up a little bit, but it's not too much as we head into the race. Craig Edwards has taken pole by 4 tenths in the end ahead of Curtis Webb, who's qualified in second place for the second week in a row. Danny Davison, second in the championship last season, third in this qualifying session ahead of Angus Milne, with Daniel Byrne and Flavio Dantas on row 3. It's Jordan McDonnell and Phil Vella on row 4 ahead of Jordan Masroli and Alex Stevens on the silver class pole position. He's just ahead of Jake Robillard with one of his best ever qualifyings in this series at 11th. Madeline McGee just in behind in 12th. Kane Ryder and Vaughan Ryder are sharing row 7, which is rather nice. Marcus Watson and Mark Hilly will be on row 8. Hilly, after that investigation, will start 16th. Steph Burkas and Douglas Gowans will share row 9 ahead of Daniel McCrone and Giuliano Senesi, who will be rounding out the top 20. Aidan Coote and Jason Madden round out the row 11 ahead of Jack Mara, who survives that investigation. He'll start 23rd ahead of Daniel Ackland. That long-time Synergy Sim Racing driver. Jay Dixon and David Gallo would have been on row 13, but Gallo will start from pit lane. Will Ryan and Adrian Loretti will be on row 14 ahead of Marcus Ganitza and Nathan Verney in the top 30. Then it is Scott Bartine and Tom Donoghue, who didn't set a lap time. Neither did Todd Parks, Tristan McLaren or Jackson Dahl. I thought I'd seen Bartine and Donoghue set a time, actually, but clearly I was seeing things rather than seeing a lap time. So they will start from row 16 anyway, or 15 rather, down towards the back end of the field. 35 drivers, though, here for this race, which is an absolutely fantastic attendance. You just see in the background, Tristan McLaren is going to race. Although, as I mentioned, he had 5 attempts at setting a lap time anyway, so I'm not surprised he has decided to come in. Looks like Bartine and Tom Donoghue are in Porsches, as far as I can see on my... yeah, Tom's currently in race control. Yeah, that's why I didn't mention them at the time. They're normally drivers in the series, but they're in race control. So there you go. The lights are about to come on then for the first wet race of the season here at Interlagos. Slightly damper conditions to begin with, but it's going to get a lot more grizzly later on as the lights go out here in the Player One Sim Gear Sim Formula Lights Championship. And with 4 wide already for 4th place, goodness me, in towards turn number 1. Who's going to back out here? And somebody has to in the end. That is all very, very cramped indeed as they go in towards the centre S for the first time. 4:45 minutes of racing. Edwards converts pole to the lead, ahead of Curtis Webb and Jordan McDonnell, who's already up to third place.
Yeah, great start from McDonnell there as well. He is up 4 at the beginning. Somebody's off the side of the circuit. It's a little bit more difficult to see in the rain. They will appear out of the mist, and that comes along with it. Robillard is down 1. Stevens is down 1. Kane Ryder has gained 3 right at the beginning. Phil Vella gained 3 right at the beginning, and Aidan Koo has gained 8 places right at the beginning of this race. So great job from him starting this off here.
Oh, in contact. Oh, stack up on the way towards Ferradura. It's 3 wide, in fact, here for 12. It's all very difficult. Aidan Cook gets that 12th place, and they just cannot see anything. I mean, we could barely see anything there on the off-board cameras. Goodness knows what it was like on-board. We'll have to go back later and have a look at an on-board start from one of these guys, because I mean, the amount that we saw into the Interlagos there, turn 4, was so minimal. We saw the leaders. We saw Edwards leading, McDonnell getting up to second, and a great start from him, by the way. But after that, it was very difficult to see anything at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Gowans has been off track. He's come back on. Robillard's had an incident, and unfortunately for Jake Robillard, he has unfortunately had a little bit of a crash. And oh, he's already going.
Oh, and he's in the barrier.
Yeah,
on the lead.
So
oh dear. The tower has indeed just frozen on the left-hand side, by the way, in the last couple of moments. So apologies for that. We'll get that running again in a couple of moments' time. This is on board with somebody in towards turn number 1.
Alex Stevens.
It's Stevens still. Okay.
Riders in the background there as well.
Oh, a little bit close to contact. That was Mark Hilly going right round the outside of us here as they went through turn 2, and now down to it. Look at this. Even on lap 2, it's difficult to see what's going on here on the way down in towards the 4th turn. Now late on the brakes on the outside. Hilly's on the inside and should hold on to that place, although no, there's more grip on the outside line where the rubber is not. And you can find your way straight on through. Luckily, though, I think it's been a mostly clean start. Lap 1 was anyway. Lap 2 is where it's all unravelled slightly here for a few bad drivers. That's Jordan Mazzaroli we're following here. I'm not sure who he's been off with. However, Mazzaroli is in the 61 we're following here, and he's been off the road down on the way through turn 5. Let's go back and see what happened. This is on replay. So a driver up in front.
Whoa.
Oh, goodness me. Mazzaroli up into the air and over. A driver went wide, came back on, slid onto the circuit again. They weren't in control of the car. Straight into Mazzaroli, who went up into the air.
Yeah, that's Dan Byrne, I think. It's so hard to see. Oh, it was Byrne.
Oh.
It was Byrne who's gone and unfortunately done that. So for Dan Byrne, he unfortunately was a little bit of a cause of that issue. So there we go for Dan Byrne.
Just look a little bit like his car, yeah. So big incident there for them. Mazzaroli's still trying to get it back again. You'd imagine he would take his pit stop now. Not that we're going to see him do it. Here he is in towards the pit lane, and that will be a first stop of the day for him. Don't forget, everybody in this series does have to make one stop over the course of most of these races, although at the Hockenheim last week we did see people making it all the way back. Pit window should be between lap 1 and lap 23. I'm not sure whether that factors in the fact that it is raining, though, because of course you use less fuel when you are in the rain, and that means you can maybe make it more easily without a stop. That was very wide from Byrne out the pit lane as well. Very nearly scraped the wall there, but he's completely on his own now and without any problems at all. He's back going again, and he sees immediately on the way down the Retta Raposta an incident right up in front of him here. This car here was sideways as he rejoined. That is the driver of number 95, Alex Stevens, who was leading the silver class, now having a disaster. He's even dropped behind Daniel Byrne.
Yeah, he has at the moment. We're fighting with the timing software in the background. Give us 2 minutes to deal with that one, and we will try and get this to hopefully stay on here. This would be awesome.
Yeah, because it's quite difficult to see who we're watching at the moment in the conditions, in the wet weather. This is out of the final corner, though, as they make their way up towards the end of another lap. And as far as we're aware, anyway, Craig Edwards is still leading the race. Although I'm not sure where he is now in the field. Can't be too far in front, too far away, as things go. So they make their way through turn 3 and on towards the start of another lap. There you can see the leaders up in the distance up in front. Not too much side by side at the moment. Everybody just trying to survive, trying to see where they're going as well. This is the only clear view in the field, and it is out front at the moment, where there is no battle for the lead, as it were. It is just a very, very big lead, I still think, for Craig Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards leading the way. Timon, it's frozen. We are aware. We are fighting with it in the background. I'm trying to get it started as well and get it to stay on. At the moment, it keeps crashing on me. So just bear with. We are trying to make this stay on there, Di. We are aware it's a problem at the moment.
Yep. Still, though, very, very big lead for Craig Edwards, it looks like. I mean, how he's finding the speed for this at the moment, just extending that over the rest of the field by such a distance is a bit of a miracle, really. He's got off to a very, very good start, and further behind, really difficult to see any side-by-side racing at all here. Because of the wet weather conditions, it's been made very, very difficult to go side-by-side all of a sudden. And that is not particularly helpful for everybody in the field here at the moment, as they make their way down the front straight again, on the way towards turn 1. This is further down in the pack. Oh dear, and a driver very nearly finding the wall. That's Todd Parks, who is down at the back of the pack, very nearly in the wall. Further up, McDonnell has got off by the looks of things, which is a real shame for him. He started really well, was up into 3rd place earlier on, but now down to 10th.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody, timing software has come back. We are good and operating and running as per normal here at the same time. Jake Robillard in the mix at the moment with Crowan, as McCrowan just sweeps around the outside. We'll have a look at Jordan McDonnell's incident, and we'll see what he got in, well, hopefully, somewhere. Where is he?
Oh, he's on the outside there, so he's trying to brake late to hold on to the position. Oh, he's found the barrier quite hard as well.
Yeah.
That's McDonnell in the wall pretty hard there, and he's going to drop way down as a result of that. He seems to have gone away with it a little bit, but either way, he's still only 10th. This is the battle for 2nd place. It's from Phil Vella all the way backwards. Vella's up 6th so far, only qualified 8th, but this is a great start for the championship leader. Curtis Webb is quite a long way down, 23rd. Did we see what happened to him? I can't remember. But he's no longer in this battle for 2nd at all. Nowhere near Phil Vella, the only other driver to have won a race so far this season.
No, we're going to have to presume he went into pit lane. Unfortunately, with us restarting the timing software, we are not able to go back and look at it. That have not happened since it's come back on. But
it is displaying... Oh no, that's not quite... I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, Dantas and Vella, meanwhile, go side by side towards turn number 1. And that is Dantas through up into 2nd place. So 2 drivers who've gained quite a lot. Another couple of drivers who've gained quite a lot, by the way. Aidan Coote and Mark Hilly. Aidan Coote is up 16 places so far. Not sure where he's finding all this speed in the race compared to what he was in the qualifying session, but it's a top 5 already for him. We're not even 10 minutes in yet.
yeah, he's done a great job so far. Hard on the brakes. Try and get it stopped. Oh, man, these conditions are looking very, very tough out there indeed. But Aidan there and Angus Mill, Flavio Dantes and Phil Vella are all trying to chase down for Craig Edwards. Car 808, David Byrne, has got a penalty for 10 seconds penalty. I'm going to presume that would have been with the incident earlier on, unless, of course, there's been something else that he's got himself involved in.
Yep. We saw him earlier on involved in that out of turn 5, of course, as Form Ryder just loses the lead of the silver class. He's made a mistake somewhere, and Jake Robillard has gone straight through into 13th, but more importantly, the silver lead. And what a performance this is so far from Robillard. This is how he was able to do it. Oh, it's a spin to the inside for Ryder, who just taps the wall. That won't have done too much damage, but it has lost him the lead to Robillard, who's having a fantastic race so far.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Ackland's also had a problem, has gone straight back to pit lane. They're starting to get a little bit more, I'm not going to say a little bit spread out, because Phil Vella has got Dantes tucked in about as close as he could possibly get. They've opened up a second and a half to Aidan Milne, who is somewhere on the outside. There is Aidan Coote. There he is, as he's trying to go around the outside going into turn number 1.
Two bits of side by side for second and fourth place here in the field. Through the S's, Dantes gets second and Milne gets fourth place, or at least keeps it here for this battle out of turn 3. And Coote is going to be trying to get his way back through again. On the outside line, I think, here, and on the way towards turn 4. Yep, he's trying to go all the way around, and he's going to be shut out there by Milne, who keeps fourth place. Dave Davison, meanwhile, in the background, has just done the fastest lap of the race, and he's already stopped, don't forget, so he'll be one to watch to come back up later on.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of people who'll have to keep an eye on anybody who took an early sort of pit stop. I think it's going to be the way to go. Looks like Todd Parks has had another moment. Jay Dixon has also had a problem. Aidan Coote still there, running a little bit wide in through Laranahara and Pinerino, and he's got Mark Hilly, who's now closed in right behind him here as... Ooh, Mark, yep. Don't stay on you too long, sir.
Just dipping out for the moment. We'll hope he stays connected at least for this race. Move into the final corner. All of these guys are stuck with each other for the moment, but the field's so spread out that they're not going to be able to pit and put themselves into a better position. So, as well continue on with this. They might as well just stay where they are as they now make their way out of the final corner again and up towards the line. Maybe this track's just getting quicker, because that's Edwards with the new fastest lap there as well. So, I'll say maybe it is just getting quicker. Down towards turn 1. Here comes Milne on Vella in towards third place. And from being on the defensive, Angus Milne is looking for a podium place. Vella's back down the inside. Oh, wow. Got to be careful on the inside there. You skid along the surface and you can end up in the driver alongside you. He looks like he's held the outside through turn 3, though. Vella's going to get that third place back again.
Yeah, he is, but they are still running side by side at the moment as well. So it's going to be interesting. There he is there. Angus Milne diving up the inside. Vella loses that position, but this is also happening behind with Aidan Coote. No, it's not.
Whoa. Good recovery from Aidan Coote there, who just uses the bit of tarmac on the outside. Get away with it. I don't think there was contact. No, there wasn't anyone near him. Through turn 5. Goes for a big spin and drops down the field. He had gained 16 places up to that point. He's going to have to get a few of them back for the second time.
Yeah, he's going to have to try again there as well. But that was a nice little recovery from him as well. In the silvers at the moment, Robillard, Vaughan Ryder and Jason Madden are leading the silver class currently. So that's a good job from them. And they're 13th, 14th and 15th overall. So that's a nice little position to be in for them. Mark Hilly, unfortunately, looks like he just might have had a moment as well, and he's lost a chunk of positions for Mark, unfortunately.
Robillard just did the same as well into the Bico de Pato. That's on the power out of Ferradura. Just look at the way they slide across the road. It's never ending almost sometimes. Hilly had to get back going again. Well, there we go. To wait and then get back going again. Yeah, Robillard's lost the lead here. He's down to third. He's had big problems here, Jake Robillard. And Adrian Loretti as well. Robillard's off again, as you can see on the left-hand side. He's had big problems here, Jake Robillard, from the lead of the silver class. So, not sure why he is dropping down the field so quickly at the moment, but he is really struggling. He's already been off by this point. The first part was at the Bico de Pato, but the Robillard's already been off at this stage, and you see him struggling to get back to pit lane. He can barely turn left, which is a problem on a circuit that has more left-handers than right. There's the slide. Oh, he's going very quickly into the barrier there.
Yeah. Stay. And that's where he loses the incident, unfortunately, for Robillard. But yeah, he's struggling at the moment for Jake to get that car back. Mark Healy again, it's all going a little bit wrong for some of these drivers, to be honest with you. Curtis Webb is all the way down here at the moment. He's got Will Ryan behind him and Marcus Knitzer in front of him for Curtis Webb, so he's trying to come back forward. Unfortunately, we didn't see what happened to Curtis because we were having the timing software issues, and unfortunately we can't go back to find out what he did.
No, I don't know whether it was a stop or whether it was an incident. Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzling one for the moment, because he's behind Davison, which suggests that maybe he is in the region where he could have had a pit stop, but no, he maybe hasn't. Another fastest lap goes to Edwards as this track continues to get quicker and he continues to extend his margin, although fastest laps continue to just go down and down the field. I wonder whether the track is just getting quicker. There's over 30 drivers clearing water out there, so I suppose that's why. Didn't see Marcus Watson in the session at all earlier on. Turns out he qualified 15th, but I was just blind, and he's moved now inside the top 5. So the driver with the most points so far from both races, second place and an 8th from the first 2 races, is now inside the top 5 again.
Yeah, he's done a great job there. Curtis Webb is climbing all over Marcus Knitzer, looking for the move on the inside here. Is he going to be able to go through without any problems? Yes, he does manage to make it through for Curtis Webb. So a great job from him, moving himself up into 18th, of course. McCrowan has also got McDonnell for company after Jordan obviously been in pit lane after his earlier spin he had earlier on in the race.
There's not many battles going on around the circuit, but this is one of them. McDonnell looking to recover with Madden and McCrowan just in front of him. Through Ferradura now for these 3 as we go on board. We need to have a look. Well, I suppose we can't have a look back at the start anymore, perhaps because of the time, but we need to at some point, maybe after the race, have a look at one of these cockpit cameras from the very start of this race, from the mid-pack, just to see how much the drivers could actually see. I'm imagining not a lot, but it'd be nice to watch after the race just to see quite what this start was like for people in the midfield, because I can only imagine how it must have been.
Nope.
Tries to gain a place. He's having a day that's going from bad to worse, and he's coming back on the circuit. Oh my goodness, that was close. That was so close. There was no way of stopping that. He was aquaplaning through this downhill left-hander, and then he was on the grass, which is wet, and it's like the old iRacing grass. He's never going to stop anymore. Oh my jeez!
Who was that in front of him?
I can't remember. I think it was McCrowan. I think it was Daniel McCrowan. Yeah, it was. And I don't know whether he saw this coming and just accelerated a bit earlier than he otherwise would have. I don't think he did. I think he just got extremely lucky there.
Oh, you think? I think he may have just absolutely been well and truly lucky for McCrowan, because this was very, very close. There goes McDonnell now. Just watch this.
There he is.
Oh! Wow.
Almost looks closer off board, actually.
Yeah.
It looked like you could at least fit your hand in there, but off board it looked like there was barely a piece of paper in that one. Well, there you go. In the end, they get away with it. And yeah, as I say, I don't think McCrowan did anything differently there through the corner. He just got a little bit fortunate that he was not hit there by McDonnell, who was sliding across the racetrack and couldn't do anything to, even if he was jammed on the brakes fully, and I imagine he was anyway, that wouldn't have done anything to stop the car from there, as Judd Masroli gets past Will Ryan, meanwhile, for 20th place. I'm somewhat surprised Masroli's even still going, but I imagine he did take his fast repair, and he did get back going again after flying through the air through turn 5 earlier on in the day.
Yeah, he did. Him and Dan Byrne having a bit of a moment together. Angus Milne is still fighting out with Phil Vella. They're still running side by side down into turn 4 to see the Interlagos. And Milne again trying up the inside, takes the nose off Phil Vella, and unfortunately for Vella, he loses the position.
And that is Angus Milne onto the podium. Flavio Dantas has already got away with that podium place, and Angus Milne looks like he's about to do the same. Vela got off to a very good start initially, but maybe he went out a bit too hard, because going towards the halfway stage of the race now, he's starting to fall backwards. Something, excuse me, I've not seen very much of in these Super Formula Lights, actually. Not seeing them driving in the rain very often, but how do the tyres wear over the course of a day in the wet weather here? And how much do you have to manage them over the course of 45 minutes? If you've gone out too hard and the tyres are already falling off now, and we're not even halfway through the race, and you can certainly presume that this is going to be a very, very difficult end to the race for those who have struggled on tyres. Although, never mind the tyres, even just driving around here is difficult at the moment. Angus Milne just keeping it on the road there through the final corner.
Yeah, he definitely did. And well, I'm just saying, he hit the grass on the outside, unfortunately, on the run through, down through Mugello and into Junção, and nearly sort of put that car sideways. He managed to hold on to it, but I can guarantee he probably would have had a little bit of a brown pants moment for him. Mara's in a battle. He's got Burkhardt's in front of him. Daniel Ackland has had an awful race. I'm not going to compound that young man's misery anymore, as Mara just goes up the inside. Does he? Nope. Seth manages to get the run and come back across his nose at him.
So it's been a good gain of positions as well for Jack Mara. 14 places gained. That's the tied most with Aidan Coote so far. And Jack Mara certainly needed that after qualifying in 23rd. Outside line in towards turn 4. And he's not going to get anywhere there. He's going to turn back underneath at Burkhardt's now. Maybe have a go through Ferradura, but you've got to be careful even through turn 5 here on this circuit. And Mara's not quite close enough. As we spoke to him last week, he told us he's going for the championship this season. There's no two ways about that. And he's, as he said, not here for fun. He's here to try and win the title, and he's improving his position here in this race. Just limiting the damage here tonight is going to be the goal for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's up 14. You know, didn't have a great. Oh, yeah. He nearly became one with Seth at that point. So for him, he needs to be just a little bit more mindful. Seth's obviously got different braking points to Jack has. You can see him trying to hunt the non-puddled part of the circuit on that run through Junção and down in through Mugello. And it's very difficult to try and spot at that moment in time, because obviously it changes and fluctuates as the lap goes on and as the race goes on and as the water gets dispersed more. You know, I'm sure they're all calling it out in their own separate team chats, like, you know, there's dry here, puddle there, be careful here. But it's very, very difficult to see. And you can just see on cockpit, you can't really see much of the track while you're sitting there. So you are kind of guessing and hoping that you've put the car in the right spot.
Yep. And that's not the best idea, really, when you're doing one of these races. Davison makes up another place ahead of Jason Madden, by the looks of things. Curtis Webb trying to go past them both. Maybe 3 wide in the background. Yeah, they were on the front straight. Goodness me. Webb and Davison now side by side for 15th. Got to be careful through here, and they have been. Webb will get through, though, into 15th place, ahead of Davison. And Madden will try and come back through on Davison. So after looking like he gained a place, Davison, he's actually lost a place in the end. And, well, Davison now is back to 17th all over again. He'll be back down the inside of Madden this time, though, in towards turn 4, and that is through. But that's showing a little bit of what Curtis Webb can do here at this circuit. It's just a shame he's so far back at the moment. Yeah,
this is the run that they all got here. You'd be able to see them very, very shortly. Hopefully going 3 wide. We'll jump. There you go. That might be easier shot. There you go. Straight through the middle, down into turn 1. Nobody really wanting to lift, but Curtis Webb's the most bravest one. They make a little bit of wheel contact on that run out of through Senna S's and then onto the Reda Aposta. Ooh.
See what's happened here. It's Pico de Pato again. This corner proving to be very, very tricky. And Coote this time.
Exit. There you go.
Inside curve. Bit slippery. Goes for a half spin and loses a place to Burkhardt's, which he immediately gets back again. Actually, as we go back to live, he's got it straight back. So that's a pretty quick recovery from Aidan Coote, who's just losing his way slightly in these last couple of moments. And Burkhardt's gets onto the curb. Careful! Oh, he's gone! Oh, my word, he was so close there. He had no control over his car. Jack Mara gets a free place, but Burkhardt will just be relieved to still be in the race.
Oh, he had nothing there. Let's see if we can find it. Just how he manages to keep this on, because I severely thought there was a wall incoming here. He's down on the inside. Now he goes back, tries to cross over with him. And then all of a sudden he's sort of out. And then he's just sitting along for the ride here. He's trying to keep it out the wall. Oh,
God. Goodness me. That was so close. And that, by the way, would have bounced him straight into Jack Mara at really high speed. That would have been them both out the race for sure. And that could have even been a safety car, but Burkhardt's there, controlled the car very well, and is able to hold on to that position, that night position. Enquires gone too wide into the curb, and there you go. Takes them so long to actually find themselves at the scene of the crash, but the mistake was a few seconds beforehand. Just see him go a little bit too wide, bit of oversteer there, bit too wide there, and now he's just along for the ride. He will have known he was going to crash, but it takes him a few seconds to actually do so, and he does lose a few places.
That's one of them moments where you sit there and you're just like, I cannot believe I've just done that. And he's still going in the crash, because, as you say, it does take him a couple of seconds to actually get to the final point of where they are going to crash. But he did what Angus Milne did. The only difference is obviously Angus Milne managed to hold it a little bit there. And for Aidan Coote, he just couldn't. And it was just, yeah, game over.
Certainly is. He's 11th place. I wonder whether Aidan Coote managed to get 16 places on the start because he went too hard on his tyres too early on. I've obviously got no evidence for that, but it's just a theory at the moment. He just gained so many places initially, and now he's struggling so much. He's not lost all his talent in the last half an hour. It's got to be something else, and he's down to 11th all of a sudden. Still a good return, actually. Qualified 21st. I think he'll be pleased with still gaining 10. It's just what he could have had maybe. Jack Mara is sort of an example of an opposite way round of doing this. Didn't really gain any places off the start. So we have a look at Jake Robillard here, who's been in for his damage, and he's sliding his way through the final corner there as well. Mara didn't gain any places initially. Now he's gaining loads. He's up 16 places now. Shows a much, if you take it a bit slower initially, then you can gain more places by the end.
Gallo there, unfortunately, on the run down into Juncal. And I think that's the thing. In these conditions, you kind of be consistent with yourself. Know where your abilities lie, know what you can and cannot do, and see if you can make an improvement. And some of them have made some good old gains on them, and this is the thing with this. At the end of the day, they're all on the left-hand side. You can see the top 14 pretty much have all gained over the bottom half of the field, who have made mistakes, gone off and caused incidents, of course.
Yeah, it's an interesting pattern there. It's Webb and Danny Davison the ones who've lost some of the most, although they will gain later. Oh, I didn't see that in the background. Was there someone in the wall?
Don't know if he got to the wall, but boy, oh boy, did he just get about as close. This is Ackland's car. I don't know who that was in the background that went off then. Ackland's got to have made a mistake in Juncal. Somebody went off circuit and there was a wall literally looming at them. Might have been Todd Parks by the looks of that. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wasn't quite as close as the Burkhardt's one, but it was relatively close. And got to be careful getting out of the way like that, by the way. Drivers will not be able to see where you stopped. And there's going to be a very big crash if you just stopped on the racetrack at that point. So, yeah, pretty dangerous
dodgy
stuff there.
Yeah, it was a pretty dodgy stop to move over there.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that in these conditions, really. Because, you can see how much they can see. Not very much. Through into the final 15 minutes then. We've still got another 5 laps until they'll have to start pitting, but at the moment they're just in sort of a rhythm and they don't really want to stop. There's no chance of Watson being able to see where Milne is at all here. That rain light not very strong. And now Angus Milne is able to hold on to that third place, but he's under a lot of pressure from Watson. He's another one of those drivers who's taken it rather slowly at the start, and now he's getting fast towards the end. He needs to find himself some space here. He's going to be in the curb. Oh, he's gone. He's into Milne, and there's going to be a big crash down here. Milne hits the wall really hard. Oh, my goodness me. 15 minutes to go, and Angus Milne's going to be out of this race.
Oh my God. So that's Milne's. Where did he? No, stop. Oh my God, that's so hard to see, you know. Such rubbish.
Oh my word. It's a big impact. That's exactly what nearly happened to Seth Burkhardt. You just see on the outside curb, Watson gets loose and into Milne, who can't stop himself from hitting the wall really, really hard. That is a big, big crash.
I tell you what, it's moments like that as Angus Milne you would look at and go, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I have just literally thumped the wall, gone round, smashed my car to pieces, and the person that did it is just running around still on the race circuit. That is such a kick in the teeth.
I don't think unaffected. I think Watson will be in the end of this lap as well. It's just that he has been able to carry on. I don't suspect he's completely undamaged by that. Ryder and Vella got straight through. No, maybe he is going to be able to carry it. You've got to be down at straight line speed or something.
Doesn't look
be
like
unbelievable if you got away with that entirely. No safety car, by the way. No safety car by the looks of things. Unless there's one being called now. I don't think so, though. As we've got Marcus Knitzer, I think that is, off the road, have we? Or is that somebody else further down the field, maybe?
Ackland.
Who's off the road? No, it's Daniel Ackland, sorry.
Yeah,
who's off down here. Has he hit the wall, maybe? Yes, he has. He's hit the wall out of turn 3. We saw no safety cars in the last 10 minutes, as we saw at the Hockenheim, but are we going to get one for a very late dash to the end? After incident for Daniel Ackland, that's earlier on. He slides across the circuit, and then later on the next lap, he goes off at turn 3.
Yeah, which is here. You see,
Whoa!
He didn't keep it out of the wall.
Oh,
Unfortunately for Dan Ackland. Try and find a little bit of a better angle if we can to try and show you. No, that's his earlier one, isn't it? Been off again. All that. He is not having a good time in the rain. Yeah, he's not having a good time in the wet.
almost, it looked like he almost hit the brakes there, which almost straightens you up. And when you're already pointing towards the wall, you don't want to be straightened up even further.
No.
And the difference between what Burkhardt did was, I don't think he touched the brakes throughout that section there. He just sort of kept his foot in a little bit, not full on, but just a little bit there, just to keep the car sort of able to move around a little bit more than what it would be otherwise. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get a safety car, and indeed throughout this race as well. Stewards have been a little bit more quiet today than what they've been last week. Certainly, it was a very, very busy evening for them, rather, in the race control. But this time around, it's been a little bit quieter. It's very much been about each driver for themselves here. Clean racing, but there's not been very much for the stewards to do, because not very much in the way of incidents. Because, as I say, everyone's really racing their own race without really battling too much with everybody else. So that's kept incidents between car and car pretty quiet.
It definitely has, but it's allowed the flow of the race to keep going, which is always good. You know, we do love a race that isn't stop-start on incident, stop-start, stop-start. They've allowed it to flow and keep going, which is good. I think it's been good racing here as well. Interesting to see where Danny Davidson and Curtis Webb end up. Danny has pitted, Curtis has not pitted, and we're into the final 10 minutes here. The chances of getting to the end were very, very little. So we'll see how they get on, or they might just be able to go a no stop if we get 3 laps behind a safety car, but we haven't.
Well, let's see.
Marcus Watson has got a racing rules thing there.
Okay, that's interesting.
He's just had a penalty. Let me try and find out what that was. What did he do?
We'll get to the bottom of that. Aidan Coote, meanwhile, has gone off, and Madeline McGee is going to get into 9th place. It's been quite quiet today, actually, McGee, but up into 9th now. That's Aidan Coote down, I'm afraid, outside the top 10 very soon, because Curtis Webb's right in behind, and so is Danny Davison as well. You'd imagine, unfortunately, that is going to be outside the top 10 quite quickly. Here's the ruling on the screen.
Okay.
Losing control while driving and hitting another car. I didn't know there was a rule in this series, but I don't mind it. That's why he's got a notification through from race control here tonight.
I think that's a good thing, because it means there's some punishment for literally putting Angus Milne straight in a wall. You know what I mean? He literally went off track, spun the car, hit Angus Milne. Angus Milne went in and literally completely trashed his car. I like that rule. At least there's some repercussions for the person that caused it.
Yeah, it's certainly. Well, I'm not sure how much better it will make it Angus Milne's day, actually. He'll still be disappointed he's out the race, but even so. Oh, in the background, Vorm Ryder. Is that the silver class leader who's just gone for a spin? Somebody certainly was in the way through turn 4 there, and he's losing places here, Vorm Ryder as well. Or was it Daniel McCrone? He also went off at the same moment, by the way, but just through turn 1. He got a slide on and had to go across the grass on the way back through. It's McCrone again.
I'm just looking.
So yeah, this is.
Oh.
That's slightly separate. There's Vorm Ryder, who's off backwards.
Yeah.
So he very nearly hit the wall there through the end. Car 95, no further action. There's what happened to Vorm Ryder. Didn't even touch the curb that time. Just too early on the power for him. And now he is under pressure for the silver lead. He has still got 8 seconds, but that's a lot less of a gap than it was before.
Yeah, it definitely was. We've got Davidson and Webb still finding out. Seth's in pit lane. So Seth has gone into pit lane there as well. I don't know, Mini Wolf, if that's 100% right. I've got to be honest on that one. He wasn't pushed off. There was a big enough gap between him and also Angus Milne as Danny Davidson goes up the inside of Curtis Webb. Webb's coming back round the outside though.
Through goes Curtis Webb. This is a good battle between these two. They've been together for quite a while now in this race, and Davidson's trying to fire back down the inside again in towards turn number 4, but he won't go for it there, and Curtis Webb will keep 10th for now. Yeah, I wouldn't say Marcus was pushed off the circuit. He was certainly pushed onto the curb, which is fine from it's still part of the racetrack, and that's fine for Angus Milne to do that, to push him wide onto the curb. However, stewards have said that once you're on the curb, it is certainly Marcus Watson's sort of what's the word? Is responsibility. Thank you, Christ. His responsibility to keep the car under control, and that is why he's got a penalty. Because after all, Angus Milne is out of the race, and well, he's back going again now, but he is down to 27th after battling in the top 5. That will be pretty gut-wrenching for him.
Ooh, okay.
Milne currently 11th in the standings, by the way. He only scored 6 points last week because he finished 30th, so he'll be very, very disappointed indeed with the way this race has turned out, as well as Marcus Watson continues on, and he actually looks for a podium here. 6.5 minutes to go. They might have to stop at the end of this lap, but either way, Watson is putting the pressure on Phil Vella.
Yeah, he is at the moment. He's trying to close in, but obviously got that penalty, so we'll see how we can go on here. Interesting to see where Davidson will be. Everybody above him has not pitted.
And they'll have to this lap, based on the information we've got.
Should be this lap, yeah.
Yeah, 23 laps should be the limit. Although, as we've been talking about, there's only 3 to go after this one, is there? Oh, no. No, 4. It'd be 4, so probably a bit of a stretch to go that far. Car 22 has no further action after an incident. That's Giuliano Senese in 13th place. As out of the final corner comes Craig Edwards. What a dominant drive from him today. And he is going to carry on another lap here. So maybe he is going to go without a pit stop all day long, but it's not really going to matter whether he stops or not. He's almost far enough ahead of the rest of the field to pit and still win, even if the others don't. But not quite, but almost. He's got a huge lead today. He's been absolutely dominant.
Yeah, he has. He's done a great drive, to be blatantly honest with you, and I think that's the thing. He's just got out in front. He had clean air as such in front of him, and Phil Vella goes in. Watson carries on. King Ryder carries on as well. Got Mara still carrying on. It looks like Hilly's going to dive in pit lane. So maybe they can't get to the end without stopping, but it's how much fuel they've got to get there, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems that everybody's got a different situation fuel-wise going on at the moment. I thought that driver was coming in the background, going straight for the pit wall. And Cook comes in, following Vella and Hilly. And so, a few seconds in the box for Aidan Cook, who unfortunately looks like he's going to finish outside the top 10. Mark Hilly's going to be inside of it, just about.
Oh,
Though he will be behind Davidson. Out the pit lane. Davidson's on the racetrack and should have had a much better run here, as will Curtis Webb. So where was Hilly before that stop? Was he about fifth?
Fifth, yeah. I think he went in and around there.
I guess we can presume Webb and Davidson are battling for fifth now, I suppose, in the race, if things all go as you'd expect. I'm still not entirely sure. Everyone ahead of them is still going to stop, to be honest.
I don't know if they will. It makes me wonder whether or not they can get to the end. But unless Craig Edwards has done some no, he hasn't. He's in. So technically, that goes
surely not then.
No, surely not then. No. Oh, Dantas
has gone off me. Wow. He had a big gap though. 10 seconds back to third, so he should be fine. But either way, Flavio Dantas off the road down at Junshao. Oh, the brakes, and then as I mentioned earlier, you realise you've made the mistake a long time before you actually end up at the scene of the accident, as Marcus Watson follows him right in. So this could be very close indeed. Could actually get Vella back to second at the end of all this. It's going to keep Edwards in the lead by a very long way, and he's actually going to win by over 20 seconds now as a result of that issue for Dantas. But pit stop's happening. Watson already going before Dantas is, and that he is going to get him ahead. Watson is indeed in front of Dantas out of the pit lane. So that's a jump purely in the pit stops. Never mind with the incident. Here comes Vella. How many of those is he going to get? He's going to get past Dantas, is he? Because he's got such a tight line out the pit exit. So Vella wasn't particularly quick through turn 3 on the racetrack either. He's not quite going to get onto the podium. So Marcus Watson up to second place.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Up 13 places, of course, for Marcus Watson. But we obviously still have the penalty.
Yes, he's going to make it difficult to work out where he's going to finish. To do some figuring of this one out in a moment. Where's it going to drop him to at the moment? 8th place? Are we guessing? I can't even remember how long the penalty was. 10 seconds, I think.
Yeah, 10 seconds, I think it was. So he'll go all the way down to behind Mark Hilly. Yeah.
But he's got a chance here. If he gets a move on, he could get 6th because at the moment, he's, if you want to think of it this way, effectively 2 seconds behind Curtis Webb. There is only 2 laps to go, which could make it difficult. But even so, he's not that far away from maybe being able to grab 6th place. It's a little bit late on the brakes. He's going to miss the apex there, but that's fine. Through the final corner. So last battles of the race going to be between Flavio Dantas and Phil Vella by the looks of things. If Dantas can pick up the speed that he had before his spin on his in lap there, then he'll be fine. But with Vella right behind him putting the pressure on, maybe there's going to be a change here in the final 2 laps.
Yeah, maybe as well. Jordan McDonnell's in YouTube chat as well. Doesn't like the rain. Let's just put it that way.
Doing all right.
Well, yeah. Depends what he did here, of course.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It's pretty hard into the wall.
And he's come back on track.
He couldn't do anything. He couldn't stop.
That was Angus Milne again. Oh,
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Poor Angus Milne.
He's a terrible look today. That's 2 drivers who haven't had very much control of their car hitting him.
Yeah,
so, McDonnell, just to explain that, McDonnell would have been full on the brakes, but it wouldn't have mattered at all. The car barely stops anymore if you're on the brakes or not. In that, you're just waiting for rolling resistance to do its thing, really, rather than the brakes. It's very hard to stop yourself before going straight back onto the circuit again. So Angus Milne there will be very disappointed. I don't think he'll like the rain very much either. Whether he's actually any good at driving in it is sort of doesn't really matter. He won't like the rain anymore as a result of the last few laps.
No, it's going to be really close. We should have one more just for Craig Edwards. It's a 10-second penalty for Marcus Watson, so that has been confirmed there as well.
Yep, 10 seconds. I thought it was. Apologies for my short memory. So it's currently going to be, very close between him and Webb and Davison. So he's starting to. He's only 3 tenths behind Hilly. He would be 8th right now, but he's only 3 tenths behind him. This needs to be a very quick final lap from Watson, and it looks like it might be. A new personal best. There you go, 140.1. And Davison's had to come in. He's misjudged his fuel calculation. He thought this was going to be 26 laps, not 27, and he's had to make a second stop.
Yeah, he has. There. And he goes, has Curtis Webb still not stopped? Or is it literally just me with Jordan Mazzaroli? Mazzaroli's surely been in, but then again, we had issues with timing software, so it could have been that they have stopped there. And Mazzaroli, yeah. Clarification, if drive-through is in brackets, it's an equivalent time penalty to a drive-through calculated by Tom. But it is a 10-second penalty.
Yep. So that is going to be factored in after the race. So Curtis Webb now suddenly lost quite a lot of time. And he's now behind Jack Mara. What's happening to Curtis Webb now? Who's now dropped behind Watson in the field as well. So Watson is going to get that 6th place. His last lap has been good enough, and he is going to get this position. Craig Edwards, though, is going to come out the final corner. He's going to take one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen in this series. Round 3 of the championship here at Interlagos is going to go to Craig Edwards, who's got people slowing down to try and let him through before the line as well. He'll take the checkered flag and he'll take the congratulations as well. Craig Edwards has won by a huge margin here at Interlagos. Watson isn't going to be on the podium, but it has been a good drive from him at the end here to at least rescue some positions. Can he get past Mark Hilly or not is going to be the question. He will go over the line effectively 27.8 seconds off of the leader. So Dantas will go up to 2nd, Velo will go up to 3rd. And what about Mark Hilly? He's going to just make it. Hilly makes it by 4 attempts. And Watson will be 7th. Hilly set a personal best there to secure 6th place for himself, or 5th place rather for himself.
Yeah, Curtis Webb is either really out of fuel here, or he's losing just positions. Yeah, he's got to be out of fuel, isn't he?
Yep, spluttering. Into 11th. Wow.
Dan Byrne get himself up to on the final lap. Oh,
it's very similar to what Paul Ryder did earlier on. That's, by the way, silver class wins did still go to Vaughan Ryder in the end, 12 seconds back in front, so he was clearly the quickest. Just made his life a little bit more difficult for himself there with that spin towards the end of the race, but a pretty dominant win in the end from Vaughan Ryder, who came into today, by the way, 18th overall in the standings, but 4th place in the silver standings, just 13 points behind Will Ryan, so that's a very good return for Vaughan Ryder, who'll be certainly moving on up the standings.
Yeah, Jordan, Seth Burkhardt and Mazzaroli were having a nice little ding-dong on the final lap. They went over the line, literally 0.03 away from each other. So clearly they had a nice little battle for the last half of the race here. With Mazzaroli in behind. And this is the run down into Mugello and Juncal, so they must have been literally barely nose to tail over the line at this point.
See through the final corners. Oh, a little look down the inside. That would have been brave. Very big puddle on the inside there, as you can see as well. So we've got a better exit, but quite a long way back at this point. It's a long run towards the line here, so you can get a lot of slipstream as the driver behind, but looks like Burkhardt's is getting a bit of slipstream as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bit of lap car as well.
That's Webb slowing down.
Right, yeah. So they're both going to place, and then the photo finished between the two, yeah.
Great job from them there at the same time, but there's the results.
Let's have a look at the race results indeed. Craig Edwards takes the win. One of the most dominant we've seen, as we mentioned, ahead of Marcus Watson, who will actually drop all the way to 6th place in the end behind Mark Hilly. That's Vela, Ryder and Hilly will all gain a place and move one up. Jack Mara will finish 7th after gaining 16 places today. Seth Burkhardt's in 8th place at Jordan Mazzaroli and Giuliano Senese. Then it is Curtis Webb, who's outside the top 10 by only a few tenths. Then, as a result from that field, of course. Then Danny Davison, ahead of Madeline McGee, finishing 13th place. Just over a minute back was Daniel McCrowan, ahead of the silver winner, Vaughan Ryder. Then it was Aidan Coote, who was at 16th, ahead of Jason Madden and Alex Stevens, the last drivers on the podium in the silver category. Daniel Byrne finished in 19th ahead of Douglas Gowans, rounding up the top 20, and that is one lap down for Gowans, along with Will Ryan, Marcus Knitzer, Jake Robillard, Jay Dixon, and Adrian Loretti. Todd Parkinson, David Gallo, and Nathan Verney were all 2 laps down. Jordan McDonnell and Angus Mill were 4 down. Daniel Ackland, Tristan McLaren, and Scott Bartine had issues, although Bartine didn't race today, I think. They had issues, though, especially McLaren and Ackland. Let's have a chat to Craig Edwards then at the end of that race. A dominant victory for him. Congratulations, Craig, on the win. I mean, 17 seconds at the end, nearly 18. You must have been very, very comfortable in the wet weather in a way that a lot of other people weren't here tonight.
I don't think comfortable is the right word, but yeah, on the weekend, I did a whole bunch of practice to find where I could find a line that I could do every lap that was safe, and it turned out to be reasonably quick. So, yeah, I didn't feel like I was in too much trouble with spinning, but a couple of times it got a bit hairy coming up against those lap traffic.
Yeah, how was that to deal with? Because everybody seemed to be, well, you said you weren't comfortable either, but everyone seemed to be struggling more than you. Was traffic a real problem here in this race?
So the lap traffic, when they were in control, were wonderful. They let me through very easily. But there were a couple of hairy moments where they just lost the car. I think Adrian Loretti went splattering across the finish line right in front of me, and I had to pick a gap and shoot for it. Very lucky to survive that one. Yeah, but just to make that gap and then slowly eke it out was very good. I'm pretty happy with how that's ended up.
Yeah, it was a very, very dominant performance indeed. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, first of all, to my Fusion Racing teammates, a big thanks to tonight's race control after a shuffle in the steward's box. It was a bit tricky. And one shout out to Scott Bartine in the safety car, who had a quiet night.
Yeah. Somehow, in the end. I mean, there would have been long odds on no safety car tonight, I would have thought. Anyway, congratulations on the race win tonight, Craig, and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us as well.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much. Craig Edwards, the winner here tonight at Interlagos in the Player One Simgears Super Formula Lights Championship. Dantas is there, but he's muted and deafened at the moment, so I wonder if we bring him in. Here we go. We can chat to him now. Flavio, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on finishing in second place here tonight. How are you feeling at the end of that race?
Feeling great, at the same time not feeling that happy, because I made a mistake by myself before the pit, and I had like 8 seconds in front of Phil and Marcus. So when I get out of the pit, Marcus got out first than me. So like I had to push a bit, and then I made a mistake. So I got pit third, but it is good. P3 is good. From where I started on a wet condition, so it's good as well. So yeah, mixed feelings.
I should tell you that, and you won't know this, of course, but I should tell you that Marcus Watson's actually got a 10-second penalty, so you will move to second at the end of the race. So
really?
There you go. The spin in the end didn't matter somehow, so you still finished in second place. I forgot that you wouldn't know that because you were driving. So there you go. You would move up to second place, and that is 2 podiums in a row, of course, after third place last week at Hockenheim. How pleased are you to have bounced back with 2 podiums in a row after finishing 23rd at the first round?
Yeah, it feels good. Actually, the first round as well, I was in the fighting for the win, and we were top 3. I think I was in third, and then I made a mistake. I made a mistake with the safety car. The race control said to me to stay in pit, but I knew if I made a mistake, I got out of the pit. A lot of pressure. So yeah, I made a mistake. So, and then after the round 1, I was like, oh, let's just focus. Let's try to get good results at the next ones. So that's my home track, Interlagos. I love that one, but on the wet is very hard. So today I'm so happy now that I'm P2. I didn't even know. So thanks so much. And yeah, feels good. Feels good to be a P2.
Absolutely. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I would like to give a shout to my twin brother, Philippe, that he's my teammate. To Tom for the championship. He's a legend. For you guys that are here doing the broadcast and everything. My wife that's watching right now, and all my best friends from Australia and Brazil. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much for joining us, Flavio. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks very much. Flavio Dantas, second place here tonight, although didn't realise, of course. I forget these drivers are not watching the stream and they won't know about the penalties. Although Phil Vella has, because he's waiting for us in the waiting room as well to come and have a chat. So that's a good thing. Welcome in, Phil. Good to have you with us. Third place here after the penalty to Marcus Watson here tonight. How are you feeling at the end of what I imagine is a very long and wet race for you tonight?
It's hard work out there, man. It's wet here as well. I'm sweating. It was definitely a race of attrition. I don't think I really overtook anyone today. I just watched them kind of fall by the wayside, and then I saw Flavio for a few moments at the end, and then I went, actually no, just bring it home. And I guess it was, I was just struggling in those conditions. It was, I think I practiced in something that was a little bit nicer, and where I should have had confidence, there was just none there.
Super difficult conditions. We saw that throughout the field here tonight. How pleased though, and I asked the same thing to Flavio, because your seasons actually have been very comparable so far. One bad race between the two of you, but on the podium in the other two for both of you. How are you pleased are you to have bounced back after last week?
Oh, look, very much so. Last week was suboptimal. But, the opportunity to reflect, understand what the defects were and remove them from the frame is important. And, we just need to have kind of growth mindset about the things we do, and the way we do them is very important. I think, to come back with a podium today in, quali that didn't go great for me. I feel like there were 2 good laps in quali, and then the track really fell off quite quickly. And, people were running 2 seconds slower right after the first 3 or 4 laps. I'm absolutely wrapped with third. I know you asked me the other day how I felt about second, and I wasn't super impressed with that. But no, I'll take third in these conditions. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that third place. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. A big thanks to the Everything Simulated dudes. It's been great to practice with them and to race with them, and it was unfortunate to see how Angus's race ended tonight, because he was just blasting through the field. He was racing really well. Always appreciate some folk to practice with and compare telemetry with. Danny as well. The team at DFR and Kittens, and my wife Monica, who makes time for me to enjoy this hobby.
Absolutely. Congratulations on finishing third tonight, Phil, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Yes, that's Phil Vella, third place at Interlagos here tonight. And one more driver coming to wait for it. We haven't actually got any silver drivers here today to come and have a chat with us, which is a shame, but we have got Manny McGee waiting for us as well. So we will have a chat finally with the driver finishing in 13th place. Madeline, welcome in. Good to have you with us. How was the evening in the wet weather at Interlagos tonight?
Real sketchy. I think the whole goal was just to stay on track and not die.
Yeah, and you were one of the few drivers to manage not to. I mean, 13th place in the end of your first or second race in the series. Sorry, how have you found the FDL Super Formula Light Series so far?
Oh, I think it's real good. Good practice. A lot more entertaining than jumping in. What's it called? The official lobbies and having someone shunt you. So, yeah, it's been good fun. First wet race I've ever done. Bought the SFLs last week, so I'm pretty happy.
You do get that in league racing as well, especially in the wet, when there's just people randomly spinning off all over the place.
Oh, yeah, that's hardly that intentional shit you see in.
No, I definitely get that. I'd rather do.
Maneuver you out.
Yeah, I get league racing.
Some 800 rating driver.
Some persons don't even get down the start line, so you know what I mean. There you go.
At least it's just an incident there most of the time.
Exactly. Yeah,
screw up.
It's a lot different, and it's great to have another driver on the field. Indeed, we've got over 30 again here today. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I don't really know. Probably just the Team Max Boost, because they've given me a warm welcome to coming into the league and advice and telling me what to do with all the button mappings and brake bias and tires, fuel settings. So didn't have to do any of that in the officials. It's all just auto. Not even have to pit usually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a whole different world. Well, congratulations on finishing up here tonight without any problems and finishing in 13th place as well. We will hopefully see you again next week.
Will do. Thanks.
Thanks very much. That's Madeline McGee in 13th place overall here tonight at Interlagos in the rain, and one of many drivers who actually got through the end of tonight without any major problems at all. It was a very clean race, I would say, overall, especially when you consider the conditions. Everyone's going to remember the highlights of Angus Milne getting pummeled into the wall, and that is definitely the most spectacular crash of the evening. But overall, actually, that probably gives the race an unfair feeling. It was very clean apart from that, really.
Yeah, there's calls for Angus Milne to get a bonus point for something in YouTube chat. We're not quite sure what we can give Angus Milne.
Just for persevering, I think.
Yeah, just for carrying on. I think Angus Milne needs at least, a couple of bonus points, Tom, if you're listening. So can we sort of do that? It's actually, should we just put it down to it's the Commentary Booth's Driver of the Day award goes to Angus Milne for participation and perseverance. There we go.
A dangerous game.
See what happens. But yeah, it's been good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a thoroughly enjoyable race, and I think a few of these drivers, especially Jordan McDonnell, actually hoping that things stay dry for the remainder of the season. And down at Mazzano for round 4 next week, it might well do. So we will wait and see, but. At the moment, you'd expect the dry weather to return in 1 week's time. And this, of course, the first race, remarkably, that we haven't had a safety car this season, which is a fantastic job from everybody as well. So big thanks once again to everybody who's been tuned in here tonight. Big thanks to the sponsors of this series as well, not least Player One Sim Gear, the title sponsors of this FDL Super Formula Lights Championship, but also Print Racer, Ridgeway Racing Setups, RSW Graphics, Everything Simulated, and Capstone Marketing as well. Big thanks to all of them for sponsoring this great series. We'll be back in 1 week's time here on the JP YouTube channel for the 4th round of the series here at Mazzano. But from myself, Ian Leary, James Parfitt alongside me, from all of us here at Interlagos, it's goodbye and we'll see you next week at Mazzano.